Good evening and welcome to the Evening Review. My name is Ovaherero, and joining me in studio is genocide claimist Sakaria Kandenge. Welcome to the Evening Review.
Yes, good evening, sir.
You are claiming that the Aandonga also have a stake to claim as far as genocide matter is concerned. On what basis are you making a claim for genocide monies? And we've discussed this issue before, but you would like to unpack this again.
Yeah, no, this conversation, you can say it's more provoked by the situation that there are some certain national leaders, to say more traditional leaders, who are more of releasing irrelevant statements into the society to put it out that Ovambo people didn't suffer any colonialism, and definitely they don't deserve this reparation whatsoever from the German government, which actually is already declared by both government, Namibia and German government jointly, you know, to make sure that the German are held accountable, or they are, you know, sort of, you know, apologizing and, you know, releasing some reparation of, you know, towards the you know, as to say, covering up of the acts that they've, you know, committed in Namibia.
So if you're saying some traditional leaders, can you point to instances where these utterances are made, specific?
Yeah, you know, it was all over the newspaper, you know, from, for example, from the Ovaherero traditional, so the so-called chief, paramount chief, yeah, where he said that Ovambo people didn't suffer any colonialism, and they should be excluded, you know, from the talks of reparation, which is actually now a national talk under the new Namibian nation.
But now, if you're saying that you've also suffered also suffered under the genocide, what are the specific crimes that have been committed? Because information, or in the information that is out there, is that the extermination order was against the Nama and the Ovaherero, and only them. And perhaps, I mean, one could assume that if anyone else was affected, then it's as a consequence of being a casualty of war.
Yes, definitely. One thing that we need to understand when you're talking about, you know, genocide being against the Nama and the Hereros, one also need to understand that there is no difference between genocide and the war, because it's a genocide war, and the war of genocide have been fought against not only by the Hereros and the Namas, but it have been also fought against, and it's on record, they've also been fought against by the San, the Damaras, the Aandonga people. Because it's very clear, and it's very much on record, that Aandonga people have, you know, suffered heavy casualties, you know, from the Germans in their attempt, you know, to fight against the invasion of their land, which is actually lost. Because it's not just about, you know, people, it's also about, you know, land lost and the resources that Aandonga people, you know, have suffered as a result of, you know, German invention. And talking about genocide, for example, what do you call a situation at Namutoni? Because the event at Namutoni where Aandonga people have been attacked by the Germans, it was during the genocide war. It is part of the series of genocide war battles.
But history would tell us that the Aandonga managed to hold the fort of Namutoni. So, and again, comes back to my question, to say that there was no extermination, direct extermination order. When we look back, the extermination order was very clear, that every Ovaherero, that every Nama should be killed. And then if we go on, if we take it a step further, you will see that these two nations suffered great casualties in terms of population loss, which you cannot say for the Aandonga. So again, brings back to that question, why the need for this?
It's very, very much needed, because, you know, one thing that people need to understand is that there isn't any much difference between Nama, between Ovaherero, and between Aandonga people, you know. And a Herero is a brother to Aandonga. So definitely, when you see your brother being attacked, automatically you are also going to step in and, you know, try to assist. That is exactly what Aandonga people have done. And in the process, they suffered casualties that came with the genocide war.
Do you think, based on what you are saying, any representative that is in favor of reaching a negotiation, a settlement with affected communities, based on what you are saying, would pay consideration, from Germany, would pay consideration to what you are saying? And
yeah, what we are saying is Germany cannot give half apology. Germany cannot, you know, give half reparation. If they are going to, you know, work on reparation towards the affected community, they must include everything that have happened during their time here. You know, they must definitely apologize for the land lost, which is also very much related to the genocide, by the way. They must, you know, if they are going to do reparations, that they must make sure that it also include all the other, you know, acts that they've committed here, which is very much related to the genocide. One of those including the battles that have been fought by all the communities that have been affected by their operations, colonial operations.
Look, if one speaks of the order against the Nama and the Ovaherero, one would speak about Omakari, one would speak about one Kranz, and so on and so forth. You would find evidence of graves.
Yes.
In the same vein and in the same quantity, you cannot say that for the Aandonga.
You can say the same.
But I'm asking you to point out to specific examples, but you are not giving me any direct
example.
Say for Namutoni.
It's not just about Namutoni. The record is very much clear on the records that Aandonga people have participated, for example, in the Waterberg battle. They went the King Nehale of Eastern Aandonga during that time sent soldiers to go and rescue Ovaherero between Namutoni and Waterberg, up to Waterberg itself. Yes, according to oral history, it's probably also recorded elsewhere. But what we are saying is, it's not just about Namutoni. It was Namutoni and a series of other activities that have been attached. Namutoni was just an opening up, you know, of that highway, because Namutoni is in the middle of the highway from Ondangwa to Tsumeb, which is still actually a highway until now, you know. They have to open it up because Germany have put a blockage so that they can block Ovaherero community from this side, and then they can block Aandonga community from the other side, so that they cannot join together and establish a counter-attack on Germany. That is exactly what have happened there. And immediately after the Namutoni fort have been destroyed, because it was destroyed, even though our people from Aandonga have suffered casualties, they've suffered attacks, and many of them unfortunately have perished there. They made a way. It was a sort of a way made so that they can able to you know, enter the central Namibia, so that they can able to fight alongside their brothers, the Ovaherero, and so that Ovaherero community can able also to come and pass to the north through Aandonga. That is what happened.
You know, you're making this claim, but if one has to go back, a step back in history, of the dispossessed land of the Haikom people, would you as the Aandonga consider a reparation package of sorts for the Haikom who have lost land?
Yes, definitely. Haikoms were, you know, members of Aandonga community during those years. So they were more like one people. There wasn't this separate, you know, communities that this is Haikom community, this is Aandonga community. It was one Aandonga community.
No.
And definitely when you are going to make any you know, any claim into reparation or whatsoever, Haikom people are definitely included.
You seem to be making the genocide matter a free for all, where anybody can make a frivolous claim and say that because of A, B, or C, I should also stand to benefit from the genocide.
No, it's not really my doing. This one is a doing of my ancestors. You know, I am basically, following in the footsteps of our ancestors. If my ancestors who fought in Namtoni and Waterberg and all these areas could have been here, they could have still speak exactly the same way that I'm speaking right now. So it's not something that is new. It had been here. It had been debated all along. And we are just, putting also, our views onto the matter to make sure that both the government and all the traditional authorities who are involved in this activity, especially the government, they are quite aware that it's not only two communities that is affected, this wide range of other communities who are affected by this very issue of German colonialism in Namibia, German genocide in Namibia, German stealing of land in Namibia without consulting our leaders during that time. So we have to make it clear. Everybody must understand this.
Okay, no, we'll continue with our discussion on the genocide.
Yes.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back for more on this discussion.
At OK Furniture, we know you work hard all year so you can give your loved ones a festive season filled with cheer. So to help you enjoy the Christmas you want, we save you money on the home essentials you need. Save on the 32-inch Omega HD-ready digital TV, now only 1799, or this Bradford Lounge Suite, just 8999. Only at OK Furniture, where we save you money.
Welcome back to the Evening Review. Sakaria, when one looks at government negotiating team for the genocide, one sees clear evidence of government choosing to negotiate with the Nama traditional authorities and with the Ovaherero traditional authorities. Does this not spark something in your mind?
Well, if the government is really doing consultation with only certain communities in a free...
No, I'm saying,
yes.
What I wanted to say is, does this not spark your mind to say that government's efforts are concentrated to the affected parties?
Yes, but are you sure that the government is not consulting also other communities?
Well, look, there's working strategy is clear. You would see consultation, the vice president, for example, or the minister of defense and veteran affairs, making clear effort to engage on the record with these communities that I have mentioned. Does this not, in your mind, already point to you?
Yeah. No, it only indicates that maybe the government needs to do more, because there's a conviction, there's a clear conviction that the government should really include all the affected communities into this Namibia-German agreement.
And if you are saying all the affected communities, save for the Nama, save for the Ovaherero, can you name all these and provide a basis for why you say, for example, this nation A is a claimant, nation B is a claimant, nation C is a claimant, and these are the reasons?
Yeah.
Just a very clear breakdown.
Yes.
Justifies.
For example, let me start with the Damaras. Damaras obviously have been living in central Namibia during that time of the genocide. Let me talk about the San people who have been living together with Aandonga people in Aandonga Kingdom during that time. Those very same people obviously are affected because the genocide activities happened in their territories, and definitely there's no way they can be excluded.
But there is clear exclusion.
In the negotiation now?
Yes.
That is what we are trying to rectify here. If there is such, which I'm not quite aware if the Namibian government is going to, be partial about how they are going to approach the communities on these issues, I believe if that is a situation, then the government really need to do more, because the government represents all the people, and the government represents true history of the Namibian people as well. So there is no way that the government can able to exclude communities who are affected in these, German colonial acts?
Look, I'm going back in history again, and perhaps you're not understanding my point.
Yes.
You would find, for example, how the Ovaherero fled to Botswana, where they were intentionally driven into the desert to die from thirst. You would find slave camps having been established. These are clear. The incidences of Shark Island and so on, where you had concentration camps. That level of violence was not put out against the Aandonga to that extent.
No, yes, of course, the level of violence that have been inflicted on Ovaherero people is not necessarily the same like the one for Nama people. And it can never be necessarily the same like for Aandonga people, because it depends on what circumstances each event have happened. But what we are saying is, no matter what, no matter how the violence have affected a certain community, that is not really the point. The point here is that Germany has committed violence, have committed criminal acts, criminal colonial acts, and Germany needs to apologize. They've already accepted that they're going to apologize, actually. But what we are saying is they must apologize. They must give a full apology. You don't give a half apology. You must apologize for all the acts that you have committed. Because there's only 3 wars, by the way, that have been waged against Germany in Southwest Africa during those years. 1884, when they were here, up to 1915. The wars in the south by the Nama communities, the war in central Namibia by the Ovaherero community, and the war waged in northern Namibia by Aandonga community, definitely with the help of other communities as well. It's well recorded that it wasn't in isolation. African people, they used to assist each other and all those kind of things. That's why the government must really look into these things to see and definitely come up with a proper solution that is very inclusive and very satisfactory to all the communities, because this issue is not even far from the ancestral land that is being claimed now. The Office of the President have already established Ancestral Land Commission, Ancestral Land Claim Commission. And how many communities have submitted? In the north, for example, there's 2 traditional authorities that have submitted a claim into ancestral land that is lost to who? Because of German acts. And ancestral land lost is not far from the genocide. There is nothing like ancestral land lost, and it's not connected to the German colonial war, which is very much related to the genocide war, which we are talking about here.
If we have to look at the effects of the genocide in terms of migration of people away from their homelands, you find Ovaherero in Botswana, in South Africa, and you can say the same for the Nama, driven off because as a consequence of the genocide.
Yes.
You'll find Aandonga people outside Namibia. Can you make the same case that they were driven out of Namibia because of a genocide?
Aandonga people haven't been driven out of Namibia but Aandonga people have been confined to a smaller section of their land. Because most of the concentration was happening within the so-called police zone during those times. And they didn't want any of these communities within the police zone. That's why you find Nama people, most of them also confined in smaller communities, like reserves and stuff like that. Now you also find that the South African government also came to establish reserve to accommodate those people who went to Botswana and who went to Aandonga actually. Most of the Herero communities also have been accommodated in Aandonga because there were only 2 exit points. That is Namutoni and Omaheke, Kalahari Desert. Because the operation of the German operation was designed in this way that the Ovaherero community are cornered or they are enclosed within central Namibia, that whenever they are going to be, there's going to be an attack, they are not going to exit the area. That's lucky enough, most of them have exited the police zone through Namutoni, which was already destroyed by King Nehale during that time. credit to our ancestors for doing that. Most of them have sacrificed their life. It was during the time of the genocide. It's very well known by the Ovaherero community, including the Ovaherero traditional leader who recently have spoken about Ovambo people not affected by the colonialism. And Omaheke exit point, it was a natural barricade because, you know, it's a waterless, you know, kind of a desert area where you don't find water. It's very difficult, you know, to, already in history it was already difficult, you know, to go through that area. So the very easy exit point was Namutoni.
So the point that I'm trying to make in my question is that you can see the clear violence of the then German colonial government displaced people in large numbers, where you have established communities in other countries. You cannot say the same for the Aandonga.
Well, what can we not say for Aandonga?
That you have been driven out of your land in equal proportion because of acts committed by the German colonial government.
Yeah, it was, you know, it depends on how you have been, you know, driven out of your land. You see, Aandonga people used to farm in that area. And they used to, you know, conduct various economic activities in that very areas under question. And they have been driven out. Technically, they've also been driven out to a smaller portion of their land, which is sometimes not fully productive according to the way they've been already living. And you know, when they tried to destroy that system, they have been killed. Because, you know, you need to understand that the cultural arrangement or livelihood arrangement of these people is not the same. The livelihood of Nama people and the way how they settle is not necessarily the same like Ovaherero community. That is why the effect of how you are being driven out of your land will never really be the same. It's really going to be a little bit different. Because Ovambo people or Aandonga people in particular, for example, they use that area, Grootfontein, Tsumeb, for hunting, for grazing their cattle, for mining and all these kind of things. It's a matter of economy. And Germany was so determined to make sure that these people doesn't get involved into these economical activities, because this is now our land by force, without any consultation, without any whatsoever.
Thank you very much for joining us on the Evening Review.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hone.
Thank you very much for tuning in. Good night.
At OK Furniture, we know you work hard all year so you can give your loved ones a festive season filled with cheer. So to help you enjoy the Christmas you want, we save you money on the home essentials you need. Save on the 32-inch Omega HD Ready Digital TV, now only 1799, or this Bradford Lounge Suite, just 8999. Only at OK Furniture, where we save you money.